So, okay. I'd give it like a half thumbs up. So let's like tilt that a little bit. Welcome to Bird Burger. 1 month ago, I created a video where I paid Fiverr artists to edit my wildlife photos. In that video, I opened up a forum for you guys to be able to submit for a chance to edit my wildlife photos in the next video, and here we are. In that video, I also said if that video got 100 likes, I would pay you guys some extra money. If you missed it and want a chance to be in my next video, make sure you watch to the end of this video to see how. And in addition, if this video also receives 100 likes in the first week, I'll be continuing this series. Ooh, I'm excited for this one, guys. I've been waiting a long time for this, and I apologize ahead of time for any hurt feelings. That is not my intention, but my intention is to be honest, just like in the last video. But I'm excited to see what you guys edited up and see what we got. So I've gathered the first 9 images that were submitted from the previous weeks, and now we're going to start viewing them in order from the ones that were for free because they were international and I couldn't send them money due to tax reasons, blah, 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 and then working our way up to the $5 and $10 edits. So at the end, we will be ranking these from my least favorite to favorite, and let's get started. So pulling up my image really quick, let's check out the raw image that it looks like before edited. Pretty gnarly. It's a pretty gnarly image, and this is the edit that I did on it months, gosh, years ago now by this point. So let's take this and compare this kind of side by side with the edits that we get from these people. So first contestant is a guy named Holy Fire Photography on Instagram, and let's check out his image. Ooh, okay, I like this one quite a lot. There's a lot of really good detail, retention, and noise softening. You really lose a lot of that noise that is just so prevalent in that raw image, but you keep a really good amount of detail in the egret, so I like it. He also chose to go with like, it seems like maybe like a 4x5 crop. Pretty interesting. I like the take. It kind of isolates down the bird, removes a little bit of that scenery around it. This is a great, really standard edit, and you get a solid thumbs up from me for your photo edit. All right, so let's check out the next one. This comes from a guy named i.espinosa94 on Instagram, and let's check out what his edit looks like. Ooh, so went with a 16:9. So immediately I noticed that the noise retention isn't quite as good, or the noise control isn't quite as good as the previous image, but I really like how much he brought out the egret. The egret's very white and very much stands out in this image. So great job there. The greens also look very nice, natural, and vibrant like the previous image. So I think that was a really great job on his end there. And yeah, I like it. There's a lot of detail, once again, in the bird, in the eye of the bird, and your eye really gets isolated into that aspect, that part of the image. So really solid. This image is actually in a lot of ways very similar to the last edit. So that's interesting to see how similarly they chose to edit it in. And yeah, I like the results here too. So solid thumbs up as well. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is by a guy named Isaac Olafsson. So, yeah, this is a decent edit. It's pretty good. It feels pretty flat though. I don't quite like how flat that is. It's so flat to the point where you start to get kind of like a weird look on the egret itself, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I would like the moodiness that was represented in the previous 2 edits, or in the edit that I did myself. But beyond the flatness, the color accuracy is spot on, so I like that. I like the color correction here. That's one of the hardest parts I felt like about this image, maybe for some people, and so I'm glad to see that so far the color accuracies are really good on all of these 3 edits. But like I said, a little flat. The shadows were brought out so much that you lose the moodiness of the image, which I'm not a huge fan of. Also, beyond that, the noise is not really too controlled here, but on the plus side, the detail in the snowy egret itself is really well done, and I'm excited to see that there's a lot of detail. The eye really pops out, and the beak is very prominent as well. So pretty solid job. I'd give it like a half thumbs up. So let's like tilt that a little bit. Overall though, decent edit, and I'm pleased with the results. All right, let's hop into the next one by Curtis Poppy? Curtis Poppy. Yeah, let's just go with that. Okay, all right, let's see what Curtis got. So this one is a lot more green. First of all, let's start with what I really do like. I really like the noise control and the detail control. This is actually probably the best of all of them so far. The detail is incredibly sharp on the snowy egret itself, while the noise around the egret is virtually gone, and it's just so well done. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is it feels very green. It feels like overwhelmingly green in the image, which I like the way that in the previous 3 images, the color was corrected to be a little bit more warm. The snowy egret didn't feel quite so green itself, whereas in this one, the snowy egret feels a little bit greenish, surrounded by a very, very, very green surrounding, and there's not a lot of yellow in the surrounding. So I'm not a huge fan of that as much, but beyond that, very technically sound in terms of its noise control, detail control, sharpening. So this one, if I could give like a 3/4 thumbs up, I would, but I'm gonna give it a half thumbs up again, because for this one, like I said, the color is not to my liking exactly, but beyond that, it was very, very solidly built. So I like it. Next one goes to a guy named Lights and Shadow on Instagram. Ooh, okay. I gotta think about this one for a second. This is definitely the most unique edit we've seen so far. Definitely doesn't feel like a natural edit, but wow, very artistic. I really like the choice to be able to bring out the orangish kind of in the image, like the yellow, but more so like it feels almost orangely tinted. Really just doling out every single other color. I think the HSL tab was probably pulled down on like virtually everything else. Very interesting. So what I really do like is I love the contrast and I love the mood. I get such a good mood and feeling from this image, and I really like the uniqueness and the creativity in it. So this is definitely something that, I mean, clearly, as opposed to the other 4 images, is not even in the same ballpark of an edit. So I really like that about this image. It was very creative, very good take on it. The mood gives me a very dark, mysterious feeling. So I gotta admit, I really, really love that. What I don't like so much about it is the fact that it doesn't feel very natural. It doesn't look very natural. And so that comes down a lot to preference, right? And how accurate you're going for your edits to look. But that would be my preference. And that's what I generally like to go for, is a very natural type of look. Also, the noise control was pretty gnarly in this image. Like, this is some of the worst noise control out of all the images that I've seen. So you can definitely see a lot of the noise, especially in the orange and the colored parts of the image. But with that being said, also the egret is nice and sharp, which is nice to see. Overall, I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot, but I'm scared of it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm scared of it because it's very out there. So, man, I think that as a result of that, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up because I just really like it. I like the choice. I like the mood. The mood is so cool. I like the creativity. So I'm gonna give it a full thumbs up. I think it's really awesome. So let's move on to the next one. This one is by Dave.L.Bowers on Instagram. And let's see. Ooh, okay. Huh. Interesting. So there's a lot of like almost like dodging and burning going on in this image. So very interesting. Their choice was really to isolate the egret in a lot of different ways. I like the mood. I like how there's a vibe, there's a style to this image. And I think it was a really, really interesting and creative choice, kind of going for the dodging, not only in the egret, but even in some of the leaves behind it. That way it feels like it's almost like a sunspot more directly hitting that area. So it does feel a little bit awkward in terms of, because the whole egret is dodged, it feels a little weird that the light would be hitting from that side of the frame, from the right side of the frame, and hitting the beak as well, but then not hitting the rest of the leaves on the left side of the frame. So naturally, my eye feels a little bit confused by the lighting direction. And I think because of that fact alone, it's throwing me a little bit off to where I don't like this image quite as much as some of the others, but it's also very solid in a lot of ways and pretty technically sound. So I'm gonna give it a full thumbs up. It's on the borderline again, just like the last one, but I'm gonna give it a full thumbs up on this one because I like a lot of aspects of this image, and there's a few things I could have been improved, but overall, it's a pretty solid image and I like it quite a lot. All right, so let's move on to the next one. This one was also a $5 edit by Rolfing Wildlife, so let's check it out. Okay. I don't know if I'm as big of a fan of it. Again, it's very quite flat. I don't like quite how flat it is. You lose a lot of that mood in the image that I really like about some of the other images. So I wish we would have kept that mood a little bit more in the darkness of the image, the eeriness. And plus as well, when you get really flat, I don't like personally how on egrets, because they're such white creatures and in nature they feel very white, I don't like how they kind of become grayish when you flatten out those highlights and whites too much, which you kind of get a little bit in this image. With that being said, there's a pretty good amount of detail kept in the snowy egret itself. I really like the detail that's kept in it. I like the noise reduction in the background is pretty solid, pretty standard there, so good job there. The flatness just doesn't quite get to me. I don't like that flatness quite that much, and I don't like how you lose that kind of mood and the mysteriousness of the image as you're kind of peeking through the leaves into the jungle, in my kind of feeling, in my opinion. So because of that, I'd have to give it like a half thumbs up again. So pretty good job in a lot of ways, but just not quite all the way there. The cool thing is though, compared to the Fiverr artist that I paid in the last video, all you guys have done way better than the high majority of those Fiverr artists. I mean, like, man, some of those Fiverr artists just were not good and were pretty far off on those edits. So I'm very pleased to see that a lot of you guys have done at least very good standard jobs of your edits, and some even excelled beyond that. So great job, everyone. All right, so next one, let's hop into the $10 edits. So first $10 edit, let's check it out. This is by a guy named Skipping Stones by TK. Darn, I don't like this image quite as much. I think it's a little bit too dark and moody. I like the direction of it, right? So if you have to go between too bright and too flat, or too dark and moody, I'd rather go towards the overly dark side of things, but I don't like how you lose a lot of the contrast in the egret because the whole image is darkened as a whole. So it's flat, but it's flat on the dark end, which is the opposite of what you usually get. Usually you get it flat on the top end of exposure, but this one is a little bit flatter on the dark end. I wish there would have been a little bit more pop, maybe some bringing up of the whites or the highlights in the egret specifically, or the contrast. But with that being said, the detail is very well kept on the snowy egret. Great job on the detail on the egret. The noise reduction is awesome. Very good job there. It's a little bit green tinted again, but it's definitely not overdoing it like it could have been. Overall, it's a pretty good edit. There's just some things that are not quite there. It's headed in the right direction, but it's not completely there. I think I'm gonna give it a half thumbs up again because it's headed in the right direction, but it's not quite there yet. Now let's hop into the very last edit. $10 edit by Sergius Hanan, I believe. Let's see. Ooh, I really like this one. Ooh, wow. This is exciting. Ooh, I like it. Oh, wow, this is a really cool creative direction that I would have not imagined myself. I never thought of it going in this way, but wow, I like this one a lot. This one is really cool, has a really cool vibe to it. Feels very mysterious, very much like almost like midnight. I really like the compositional choice here of framing on a top third and the right third. Very interesting, unique compared to all the rest, but very solid. The detail in the bird is just phenomenally sharp while not being noisy, and the background, everything else is completely denoised. Fantastic job there. As well as just the mood feels so mysterious. I love that contrast between the bird and the darkness of the surroundings. Just a great job. Although the color is not necessarily accurate, right? It gives a certain vibe and a mood in the right direction, because the way that they expose it makes it feel like it's almost like a nighttime or a midnight shot, and the bluish green kind of tint complements that and just contributes to that feeling. So the coloring is just spot on and phenomenal with the choices of exposure here and contrast, and I really like this edit. Oh man, this is solid. All right, you guys, so now taking some time off camera, I've come up with a list of my 5 favorite images of the edits, and starting with number 5 goes to Dave L. Bowers. Dave L. Bowers did a really good job of giving a mood and a vibe to this image, and I really like it in a lot of ways. I like the mood, I like the lighting choices, but there are some things that disconnected from my brain, like the lighting direction felt a little weird, and the brightness of the snowy egret felt a little weird. So because of that, it wasn't necessarily one of my favorite or top-notch images, but beyond that, I really liked it, so it takes 5th place in my opinion. Now, 4th place place goes to lights and shadow. Now, the reason why lights and shadow gets 4th place is because I really love the creative boldness and choice here and the vibe and the mood of the image. However, on a technical aspect such as noise control, it was very poorly controlled. And then also in the aspect of going for a natural edit, which is what I prefer, it doesn't do that, right? But that's not necessarily to be held against him. It just is more of a preference thing, I guess, at the end of the day. But I like the mood. I like the vibe a lot. There's a lot of really good things about the way that they chose to compose and contrast this image that I really like. So lights and shadow gets 4th place. Now, 3rd place goes to I.Espinosa 94. And the reason why I like I. Espinosa's image quite a bit is because it feels very solidly done in a lot of ways. The noise control is a little bit off here, but beyond that, I like the compositional choice of 16:9. I think it's really unique and not really chosen or done, but it works with this image very well. And beyond this, the color accuracy felt very good to me. The exposure accuracy and kind of choices there feels very solid. I like this image a lot, and I.Espinosa 94, you take 3rd place. Now, 2nd place goes to Holy Fire Photography. I like this image quite a lot, and while there's some things that I think are a little bit off about it, such as maybe it feels a little flat or a little bit overly warm, it feels very kind of soft. It feels very gentle coming into the image, and it still feels very mysterious. And I really like the compositional choice of 4:5 here. This was the only person that chose to put it into a portrait crop, and I like that choice. I like it quite a bit. And from a technical aspect, the noise is completely controlled. There is no unwanted noise here, and a lot of the details of the image are very well done. So Holy Fire Photography, you take 2nd place. Now, coming into 1st place, probably as of no surprise by my reaction, goes to Sergius Hanan. I really love this image. The moodiness and the vibe of this image is just top tier, top class. This represents almost like a vision in an image that's beyond just a standard idea, right? It's taking a shot, taking an image, and seeing what more can be done with it to make it feel unique and make it feel creative. So I love not only the exposure choices in this image, but also the color choices that complement that exposure choice, and overall just an incredibly creative edit. So if you guys want to get one of your photos edited by me, it's super simple. Go down into the description below and fill out the form, and I'll be selecting the first 10 people that contact me to be in the next video in which I'll edit one of your photos. See you guys next time.